my name is Sandra McKenna. I prefer to be called McKenna. So yeah, you can call me McKenna. I am a Microsoft Student Ambassador, and I'm also a student at Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. I am currently doing electrical and electronics engineering. I'm in my 4th year. Yeah, I guess for now that's what is important. But as a developer, I mostly use Python, and my area or the technology that I mostly work with is machine learning and data science. So that's the field that I'm currently. Okay, yes. So yeah, that's just a brief summary of who I am. Like I said, also because my area is data science and machine learning, I also intern at the Center for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. It's a center based in Nyeri. So that's who I am. If you want to find out more about me and the kind of projects I'm engaged in that I do, you can check me out on GitHub. I'll give a link to my GitHub, or also LinkedIn. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Okay, so now, let's get to the business of the day. I don't think I've heard anyone's voice here. So I'm just going to like randomly select one person, and they can tell me maybe their experience so far, or maybe what they have learned so far. So I see there's Nelson. Hi, Nelson. Okay. Let me try someone else. Oh my goodness, you guys have like the longest name. There's Mike. Hi, Mike. Oh my goodness, I'm here in here alone. I'm not sure if there are people here. Oh my god, Mary, Josephine, anyone, even if you can't like speak, you can write on the chat so that at least I know I'm talking to people and it's not just me and Felix on the call. Anybody?
Tuko pamoja, usijali.
Thank you, Victor. Hi, Victor.
Hi.
What have you like has been the I don't know, outstanding thing you've learned or you've enjoyed learning the most so far in the bootcamp?
So for me, I
Mm-hmm.
joined session 1, 2, session 3 I missed it. But session 1 was basically an introduction. Then
Mm-hmm.
session 2 was about data structures and arrays, the loops, the if else, the while loops. So I saw the vast potential in the loops because there's a lot of things you
Mm-hmm.
can do with a loop. So that's the most interesting thing I found out. So for the rest of the things, I'm still green because I've never written a line of code. Yeah.
Wow. So this is your first encounter with writing any code.
Yeah.
Nice. Welcome. It's I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and just keep at it. That's what I'd say. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah. So I'll stop presenting.
So
You
I'll
can
just
share, Sandra.
go right into the lesson. The thing is with this lesson, it's very interactive. So because I'll need to hear like your responses. So I just hope along the way people will be willing to probably share. Just a minute. Let me start sharing my screen. Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, let's kick it off now. Hopefully I'll be able to get feedback from you guys as I as I ask questions. So we are learning modules today, modules specifically in Python. So what exactly is a module? A module is a file containing Python definitions or statements. So it could be function definitions or just general statements. If I say something maybe at any point where you don't understand a certain term, please feel free to just ask. I will share what I think my opinion is. If not, we can always Google or check together. Okay, so a package is this was another definition that is closely related to a module, sorry. A package is it's like now a huge directory or like a program that contains now modules and sub packages. So when you put several modules together, that in essence would form a package. So now today we're not going to look so much into like the packages, but our focus will be the modules themselves. So like I said, a module is a Python definition. It contains Python definitions or statements. So I am not so sure what the other instructors were using, but on my end, what I'm using right now is Google Colab. Mostly, it's usually used. I don't know if you guys has anyone ever heard of Jupyter Notebooks? If you've ever heard of Jupyter Notebooks, maybe you can raise your hand.
Hello, Sandra.
Hello.
There's somebody who's
Yes.
having a question. Gordon.
Oh,
Is it Gordon? Yeah, Gordon and Mike are having a question. So maybe Gordon, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
I can't see the screen.
okay.
Okay.
Are you there? Okay.
Okay, Sandra, personally can see your screen. So maybe Gordon, if you're having trouble seeing the screen, maybe it's the device you're using to join, or maybe it's the internet connection is slow. Yeah, because on mine, I'm seeing Sandra's screen clearly.
It's okay. Let me see what could be the problem.
Yeah, maybe you can leave the meeting and join once more.
Okay. Anyone else? Maybe there was another hand raised, I guess. I don't know if it's the same problem.
It was Mike, but he lowered his hand, so I think everything is okay.
Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, we have modules in Python, and today we'll be looking at modules specifically. A package, as I have just said, is now when you combine uh, many modules and many smaller packages, now you form like a huge package. So their modules are mostly used for is to organize your Python code. So as you're writing code, your code may become longer and longer, and you might find sometimes you're having to repeat certain maybe functions. So instead of you repeating them, you can put all of them maybe in another file or another Python file where you can easily make reference to them. Another reason why modules are used is to group related code into a file that makes it easier to understand and use. If as you go on, maybe as you're coding or as you maybe start working and collaborating with other people, you realize sometimes you have very huge code bases. That's like a project that has a lot of code. And if you are not really good at or you're a beginner, you might end up putting all your code in one file, which is not advised because especially when people are trying to understand what's going on. So it's easier to break it down into something that's related, like maybe functions that do certain kinds of things, maybe putting all the functions in one file so that you can easily make reference to them. Um, well, the example I'm thinking of is in JavaScript, so I may not want to go into that, but as you go along, you realize maybe there are some things that have similarities, like all the functions. So you decide all the functions in my code, I'm going to put them in another Python file, and I'll just be making references to them. So on the main file, you'll just be calling those functions. You won't be writing now the function definitions. So there are mainly two types of functions. Okay, up to there, I hope we're together. If anyone has a question up to there, you can feel free to ask. Okay, so as I was saying, in Python, there are mostly, generally two types of modules, which is now the standard modules or the built-in modules. The standard modules, some of them are built-in, and another one, now the user built. Now, that is now what I was explaining. When you decide to put all your functions that are similar in one file, now that's now you building a module for yourself. Okay, so now we'll go right into the code and we'll create our own module. But just before we create our own module, I can show you an example of a built-in module. So an example of a built-in module is called platform. So for example, if you want to find out the system that your code is running on, you probably run this. So for you to be able to access a module, we mostly use the import keyword and then the name of the module. So in this case, our module is called platform, so we'll import platform. And inside now platform, there are other sub-modules, and one of them is now system, which now tells you the system now that you're working on. So in this case, it's the system, in our case here, it's Linux. If we run it, it should give us Linux. But if probably you have a different system, it should show that on your end. So I don't know if you guys are following along using like a code editor, or you're following along with me so that I can give you a bit of time to probably run your code. So yeah, maybe you guys can tell me, are you following what I'm doing, or are you typing it out on your own? Maybe on your code editor, whether it's VS Code or PyCharm or whatever editor you're using, or an online one. Yeah, anyone's response is welcome. Brian, Daniel.
Well,
Hi, Brian.
hello, Sandra.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. This is my first
Hi.
day.
Are you using are you using an ID to follow along? Or are you mostly looking at following with what I'm doing?
Yeah, I'm just looking at what you're doing. I have an ID on the side, not with Python code though, but I can put it in there just in case my curiosity gets to that level. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. So let me be honest with you guys. Like when it comes to coding and learning a programming language, it's mostly about doing it yourself. So even if I had a 2-hour session or a whole day teaching you about Python and you never wrote anything at all, it would not be of essence. So I just want to encourage you, like, even if you're not able to do it right now, like after the class, I can share this, and you can be able to go through it and try and do it yourself, because I'll just give an exercise that you can try and follow along with. Yeah, so that's just what I tell you. Like, there's really no essence of me talking for a whole hour, and if you never write it out, you'll probably never be able to grow. Yeah. So let's try and do this ourselves now. We want to create our own simple module. So let me switch and go to an online editor. Right now I'm using an online editor. Okay. So let's say we want to write a module. Let me just delete this one because I was just testing. You can just ensure we are starting. I hope all of you can see. I don't know if you guys can see the new editor because I've switched. Maybe you can confirm. I'm not so
Yes, I
sure.
can from this end at least.
Oh, okay. So you can see main.py, right?
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So we have now our main.py file. This is where we'll write, let's say, our code. But maybe as we're writing code, we're just writing a lot of code. Okay, this is not real code, but let's say you are writing lots of code and maybe you reach like line 300 or even 1,000. And now someone else looking at your code may find it hard to navigate through your code. So you decide to make it easier. I'm going to make a module where I'll store all my functions. So I will create a new file. And then I'll name it maybe function module. And this is where I'm going to put all the functions for my code so that it's when I'm in my main code, my main.py file, all I'm doing is just making references to now the functions. So have you guys done functions? Let me just confirm. I think you have. I'm not so sure. Maybe someone confirm.
Yeah, Sandra, function have taught on the last session.
Okay, nice. So you guys have done a function. So can someone please help me define this function? Like, okay, as function, I want to be able to define a function that can print out someone's name. So, okay, let's give our function a name. Someone suggest a name. You can suggest on the chat or you can unmute yourself and give the suggestion.
You can mute yourself or just drop it in the
Pardon?
chat and I'll read it. I'm telling them they can
Pardon?
unmute themselves out.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can give, let's give our function a name. Whatever name you see fit. You can feel free to type it out or you can probably suggest on the chat. Guys, I am waiting for you guys.
Somebody said Python.
Name.
Name. Okay, there's Python and then there's name. So we'll combine both. So there's F Candy who says Python, and then we have name. So we'll just call it Python name. So I'd also advise you as you're learning how to name your functions. It's always good to try and use a name that someone can understand. So when you're naming a function, try and make it easy that if someone looked at this function, would they know what this function does? If yes, then you're on the right track. If no, then maybe you might need to work a bit on the naming or even give a bit of extra comments to explain. Maybe you can say, if this function prints out So now inside our function, we'll pass in the parameter. That will be our name. So if I want to print out the name, what do I need to write next? If I wanted to print out this name now inside this function. Anyone?
Print.
Yes. What should I put inside the print?
The name of the argument, that is name.
Yes. Nice. Yeah. So let's say we wanted to add a bit of extra code and say welcome, welcome. Then the name that welcome to the class. Okay. Has anyone seen this kind of formatting? If you have, I don't know if you guys were taught. I don't know how you guys were shown how to do the print statement. Yeah, that's also another way you can do it. By Daniel movie. Yes, yes, that's also another way to do it. Let me just print out what he has shared. There are several ways you can print out. And you can do the name right here. I wanted to just replicate this. Okay. Hello. Hope you're good. Learning.
And there's a question on the chat.
Is that the same as printf? I think that's C Felix, right? I won't lie that I'm proficient in other languages. That's another language, right?
Yeah, I think that's C++.
Maybe Victor, you can confirm for us. Is that like Python code you're referring to, or another language? Yes, that's C. Yeah, I guess so. It looks like C to me. Yes. Is it the same? Would have to try it out and find out. Yeah, unless you'll see how the output looks like, and then you will probably be the one to tell us whether it's the same. If it's the same as that. Okay, so oh, sorry. Yes. So these two statements, these are two ways we can print out F. But this is C++. Okay. I don't know. It looks like C to me because printf sounds like C. I'm not so sure, but yeah, you guys will probably better place to tell me. But yeah, let's move on, maybe as we confirm. So yeah, so this is here we have our function here that you will pass in the name and it will print out now a few statements using the name. So let's first see if this works before we add in maybe our second function. So we'll come here to our main function and we want to use now our module, or we want to use some of the functions in our module. So maybe someone can, if you remember what I had said, how can I be able to access now that function that we just wrote called Python name? How can I access it if I wanted to access it on now my main file? What statement, or how can if I want to use it now? Yeah. Anyone, feel free to share.
By using the import statement.
Yeah, correct.
Just
We'll
to
use.
confirm, I'm having issues on this and I'm really looking for the meeting chat and I can't access it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry if you're having access to having problem accessing the meeting chat. So maybe the next meeting, let's say log in before you attend the meeting. With that, you'll have access to the meeting chat. Yeah, so there was a number of guys, Victor and Demon, they also typed import. Yeah, they typed import on the chat.
Okay.
So let's find out if you guys are right. Okay, let me just type what you guys have said. Import function module. Let's see if that works. Okay, we have to use it. I don't know if you were you guys shown how to enter, like how if you the entry point of a probably a function of a not a function of Python code. Like maybe the way in C we have void main, that's the entry point. I don't know in other languages what it is, but were you guys shown maybe so that it doesn't look like I'm writing something that you haven't learned yet? So maybe you can respond either on the chat, or if you can't access the chat, you can just unmute and let me know. Anybody? Or
Yeah, I really wish I
maybe
could answer that one, but this is my first class personally. But from my
uh,
previous experience, I know how we should use that. If name is equals to main and
okay.
stuff, just
I don't know, guys. Oh, sorry. What am I writing? Okay, thank you. Thank you for your response at least. I don't know, guys. Am I writing the right thing? Am I writing the wrong thing? Or if this is the wrong thing, maybe someone can correct me. Main is the entry point, true. So is this the correct way to do it? Or have I written my own things? It's telling me my syntax is invalid. So what maybe would I have what have I done wrong? Or am I right? Or who's right and who's wrong?
Sandra, I think you should do away with the first two and last two underscores.
Uh-huh.
Just use the name
Okay,
main as is.
okay. Let's try that. Uh-huh. Yeah, thank you. Looks like you guys are right. Yeah. Thank you for that. So yes, so we want to use now our function that we defined here. So how would you use it on this other side? So we have function module. Does anyone want to make a guess as to if I wanted to now print out, I wanted to use this function called Python name to print out a name now on this side. Can anyone make a guess as to how I'd use it or how I can now access my function?
Sandra,
Yes?
you have imported the file that contains that function you called Python name.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to use the function inside the module, you should write the name you have imported, function.module, function underscore module dot the name of the function you want to work with is Python underscore name, then bracket, and you write the argument you want to work with.
Okay. Nice. Thank you. You're right. Absolutely right. So maybe someone can suggest a name we want to print out. The name of your choice.
Python.
Okay, you guys are really in love with Python, so I'm just gonna go with that. Okay, let's see if this code will run. If it will not run, it's still okay. We'll debug together. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. Why is this not running? Anyone who has any ideas what the problem could be?
Okay, could you try calling it
Pardon?
from the could you try calling it from the terminal, from the console, like typing Python, then the name of the file? I realized Replit has got some problem. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I
Just
call it
just try
from
calling
here.
yeah, try calling it from there.
Okay, let me try here. Hmm. Okay, so I'm not sure why it's not behaving, but I had rewritten some of the code also, but I really wanted, I don't know, maybe if the ones who are following can let us know if it's working on your end.
Hello, Sandra. Again, I think there has to be an issue with that entry point.
Hmm.
Now that this is Python 3, can you try printing before the entry point? And if it does work, then you add the two preceding underscores.
Before the entry point, I print before it,
Yes,
right?
yeah, print right there.
Okay, let us try and see. Yeah, I think you are right. I don't think we might not need this.
So in that case, you can delete that one and then add your two underscores on the main, because it simply means that we have an issue with the entry point.
Yeah, I guess that would be the best. Now, see if this one. Yeah, so yeah, this is working. So thank you so much. So and now thinking. So we are now. So yeah, we can now see our function at work. So it's reading, welcome Python to the class. Hello Python, hope you are learning. So right there we've been able to use the import statement to access our, to import our module and to be able to access it, the function inside the module. So for example, there are other ways you can write the same statement, like if maybe the name is too long, you can import it as FM and you can still use it here. Yeah, and it should still work. As you can see, it's still working fine. Or if you just wanted to import that particular function, maybe let's go back and say, let's define another function. Okay, I wanted us to also do another function together, but just in the interest of time, allow me to just take it from where I had previously defined it. So what this function is, I don't know if you've ever heard of Fibonacci sequence. So let's say we have like 1, and then we have 2, then 1 plus 2 is 3, then 2 plus 3 is 5, then 5 plus 3 is 8. Like you add the previous 2 to get the next number. That's what the sequence does. So I don't know if you've encountered it in math, but if you haven't, it's, let's say, a sequence that you can generate. So maybe on your own, you can try and see if you can be able to generate it. If you have not come across it before. Yeah, so that's the aim. So what our function here does is that it will return the series up to a certain point. So let's say we want to have, so let's say now we want our Fibonacci series to maybe end at probably maybe number 13 or 20. So we will pass in n, as that is the number that we want it to end at. So let's say if it's 13, we'll enter 13. So what happens here is that it will calculate the series and then now add it to give us the result. Because you can see here result is a list. So what happens, it goes appending up to that point that we have stated. So we'll probably see it at work. Maybe if you see it at work, you'll understand a bit better if you don't already understand. Okay, so like I was saying here, let's say we just want to access this function only. We are not interested in all the other functions. We can just import that single function. So we can say from function import. Now that specific function. So in our case, we can just call it directly here and probably pass in, let's say we want it to end at 40. Let's say we want it to end at we can maybe assign it to a variable, or we can print it directly. So we can say result. 20. Let's see if this works. If it does not work, we'll just debug together again. All right, let's run our code and see if it works. Okay, let me comment this out. Okay, so right there we have our sequence. So like I had told you guys, so what it does is that it takes 0 and 1, 0 plus 1, we get the next number, which is 1. We add 1 and 2, we get we add 1 and 1, we get the next number, which is 2. If we add 2 and 1, we get the next number, which is 3. If we add 3 and 2, we get the next number, which is 5, and so on and so forth. So let's say if you wanted it to be at, see how that looks like. Yeah, so we have our sequence up to the point you want it to be at. It will go up to the closest number, the number that is closest to 50. Yeah. So maybe this is something you can try out and see if you can figure out. Can you create such a sequence, Fibonacci sequence? See if you can create it. Yes. So this is also another way you can get access to now your functions or submodules. Submodules are what is found inside the larger module. Let me see if for example also you want to import maybe all of them. You don't want to import single ones. There's also another way you can do it, which I will share. I'll just show you guys because I see I'm almost running out of time. This one here, this statement here. Now the module name, import, now asterisk. So let's put it here. So from now module so that allows us to use all our functions that we have defined inside the module. So let's just confirm if that works or if I'm lying. If I'm lying, we'll okay. There you have it. Yeah, let's also ensure this other one is also working. Oh, sorry. This should not be. Okay. So you see here, we directly call the function names. We don't need to put function module dot now the function name. So once you write it in this way, with the asterisk, you import all of them. So you can directly use them. But if you just want one, you can now use this. You can now specify the name of the specific function or class, depending on what is inside your module. A function, a class, a variable. It's not only for functions. In this case, we're just storing our functions. You can decide I'll store all my classes in another module and now just access them directly. So another thing maybe you can be able to do, maybe if you want to find out the names of the submodules, maybe inside your module, you can be able to find that out by printing, let me just put this in a variable just in case maybe someone might not get it at first. So let's say we want all our modules, all our submodules, all submodules. So what we'll do is we'll call a function called dir, and inside there we'll put the name of the module. So the name of our module here is function, the function underscore module. Okay, so can someone like take a guess as to what we expect to see once I print out? If I was to print out all modules, what should we see? Someone can give a guess, a try as we conclude. What do you think you will see as the output? You can write it in the chat, you can unmute and let me know. Anyone? What do you expect to see if we were to run it?
Respond to the question. Clancy is asking, is it compulsory that what we are saying will be in the current directory?
Is it compulsory?
Is it compulsory that what you are importing should be on the current directory?
Like it should be inside the current directory. That's what he's asking.
He's asking if it's compulsory that what you're importing be in the current directory, the directory you're working on.
Oh, okay. If you're calling it like this, how Python looks for modules is that it will first start by checking the current directory. So it will check, is there a module called function? Is there a module called function module in the current directory? If yes, it will import. If no, it will go to now the system path where now Python itself is stored and where its modules are. So if it's not there and you have stored it somewhere else, it will give you an error. And we can just easily demonstrate that right now. If we name these modules, and we decide let's move our module file inside here. Let's see if we'll still be able to access it from here. I still don't have an answer for this, so I'm just gonna leave it pending. Run and see. Okay, just a minute. Oh, still running. So let's wait for it to finish running. Yeah, but guys, I'm still as that happens, I'm still waiting to. Okay, so right here we see an error. It's telling us that no module, say module, no module named function module, so module not found. So you can see that once we moved our module into a folder or a directory, our Python, the interpreter could not find it. So yes, it has to be inside the current directory or inside maybe the system file where Python puts its modules. If you store it somewhere else, it will not be able to access it. And you have to give like the path to the module, like where the directory it's in. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, let me see.
Then no movie just answered your question.
Okay, answer to your question. It will list Python name and fib functions. Let's find out. Let us find out and see if that's true. All right, run. All right, I'm glad I answered your question. Oh, sorry, I forgot to take it out. This is delete this. Okay, let's run. So in this case, the reason why we are having an error is because of the way we have the import statement that we have used. So just be careful when you're using your import statement. Use the, let's just, okay. Okay, this should also give us an error. Let's just find out. Yeah. So here it's telling us we can't find name error. That name is not defined. So let's try FM and see if that works. Okay, so that works. So as you're importing, please make sure you are as you're using different import statements, make sure that you're aware of the kind of import statements you're using, so that as you're calling the functions or the definitions that you have in your module, you will not get errors. So in this case, when we use the dir function, this is what we get. So we get now properties that we cannot access, like the built-ins, the cache, the doc, the name. It was Mbuvi who had said that would get the name. So here it is. And then we have hours. You can see hours are not in between underscores. Underscores usually show that it's private. But you can access it actually. If you want to find maybe like the name, there's a way you can do it using now another type of module in Python. It can allow you to access now these private properties. But now for ours, since we are the ones who have defined them, we can be able to access them. Now the fib and the Python name. So if in case you want to find out what probably submodules are inside or what properties you can access from a module. This also works with other data structures in Python, like for example, list. It can show you what you can do with a list. Maybe it was mentioned or maybe it was not mentioned, but just in case it was not mentioned, yeah. So if I want to find out what can I do with a list, so like I said, these ones are mostly private ones. So we come to the ones that don't have underscore. So you can append, you can clear, you can copy, you can count. These are all actions that you can take on a list. Yeah. So just to finalize, if you make changes now to your module, like if you make changes here, it might not always reflect when you run the code. So let's try and make a change here. I hope it will show what I'm trying to illustrate. Is someone probably trying to ask something or say something? Oh, so what I was saying, Victor, I have seen your question. So what I was saying, okay, let me just repeat. So if we want to find out what's inside our module, or let's say you want to know what's inside the module without probably accessing the module, we'll use the dir function. It's just dir, and then inside there you put now the module name. It helps you know now what's inside the module, the attributes or the definitions inside the module. Okay. In our case, we've used this import statement. Import now our function module as FM. So throughout this program, we'll just be referring to our function module as FM. Yeah, you can put FM, you can put whatever signs, whatever short form that is easier for you to remember. But sometimes we have like what is standard or what is commonly used. So also be a bit careful. There are some times maybe you might use what is commonly used. Okay, so now inside I said also, maybe if you want to find out for another data structure like a list, you can just run and see, or even like a string, you can try a string and see what can I do, maybe what action can I take on a string, and then it will show you here. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So you can see here, these are actions that can be taken on a screen, not a string, sorry. You can count maybe the number of characters, you can expand, you can find, you can format, you can probably find the index of a particular variable. You can find out if there are numeric numbers in the string. So yeah, we start looking from the ones that are not between underscores. So that's what I was just saying. I hope that helps you. Okay, how can I save the module in the Python system? From my side, module is undefined. Okay, I'm not quite sure. I don't quite understand your question. I don't know, Felix, do you understand uh
Uh,
Candy's question?
yeah.
Question.
Maybe if Candy, if you could unmute and ask and clarify your question. Yeah. Somebody can
That
take a
can
look
help.
at that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So Maggie's asking. Oh, uh-huh. Go ahead, please.
Yes. I tried to. Okay. I did everything. Like I saved a file in one, like the same name. Then I used another file to code, like just to import the functions in that file. But now I don't know why it says the model is not. It's not. It's not defined.
What import statement are you using? Or what's the name of your module?
I just use
Or
the
I don't know,
same.
is it possible for you to share your
Yeah. Yeah.
use this
Okay. Let me
so
just.
the it's function module, right?
Okay. Let me
Yes.
just setting so that you can share her screen. I restricted sharing to only the presenter. Just a minute.
Hello?
Okay. You can now share your screen. If Candy, you can now
Yes.
share your screen.
Okay, maybe yeah, you can just share and then we can help you. We can all uh, help.
Yeah, so this one is like, okay, this the name, right? Okay, I've written everything, but now when I move to another file, when I imported the same the word, though then like it says like no module named function module, or is there anything that I've done wrong?
Uh-huh. I'm trying to see. You've imported. My goodness, I can't even see very clearly, but as I think we can all see, so maybe we can help her as I also try to maybe see properly. No module named function module. Um, maybe you should. Oh, okay, now I can see more clearly. Is there, and if you try to remove the indentation, because I'm not so sure if the problem is that, because if it's like on the first cell.
like
Oh, okay. Are you trying to import the module in the same file?
not no, I tried to import in a different file. Now this one's the untitled. Now I've tried to
Oh,
import
okay. So
the function.
module is where you've turned. Okay, so where's the file? Because right now it's showing you're in function module file, right?
Yes,
So where's the other file that you're trying to import from?
this one, the one that I'm showing right now.
Okay, and where have you written your module? Can you like open up where the module is?
Yes. And let me just delete this one.
Hmm. So you like yeah, I kinda see where the problem could be. So maybe import function module. So if your both of those files are in the same directory, it should work. So maybe you could just check to ensure that they're in the same directory. Yeah. And then try using just one import statement, not like all of them at the same time. Also see if that helps. Maybe you can comment out like one, and also ensure that they are all in the same directory maybe. And then
What do you
um
mean, like,
if
sorry?
like in the same folder, like it's not saved elsewhere. Like when I was showing that, because actually even Maggie asked like if they're in different folders, like your one file is on one folder and another one is on another folder, you might get such an error.
Oh,
Yeah, so maybe just check. As you check, maybe then you can let us know. I can also answer Maggie's question about now what happens if they're in different what is it called, like folders. So how do you import your module if it's in a different folder?
oh, yeah. Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
Yeah, but please do let us know like if you are still having the same problem.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, there was a question of now what happens if your modules are in different folders. Okay, so what I did find work on my end is, but I will definitely post maybe some code, or probably Felix can help you get as we wind up, because I know we are 11 minutes past the time we're supposed to have finished. So I'm supposed to be sharing my screen. Sorry guys, I thought I was sharing. Mhm. Okay, looks like these guys are giving me a bit of a problem, but okay, let me just skip to this side and try and show on this side how it would work. Let me see, we are back. Okay. Okay, never mind. So in this case, maybe like inside here you have your function. Inside your you create a folder, or you save your module inside another folder, and maybe you're getting an error that module cannot be found, maybe, and you want to import it from another folder. That's as I answered the last question, hopefully. How can I now import this if it's not in the current folder that I'm working on? Let me just go up to where I was. So in this case, if we try and run it, oh no, I'm already here. So let's delete it so that we ensure we're getting an error so that we can solve the error. Okay, I don't know why this is still working, but huh. Okay, let's just try and probably name this. Oh gosh, guys, I am so sorry. This is taking longer than expected. Yeah, this is the error I was looking for. So you probably save your module in another folder that's not the current directory, and you're probably getting an error like this one, similar to what Candy was getting. No module, yeah, module not found. So maybe how can we try and get access to it? So what I found works. Maybe you guys might have better ideas than I do. And let's see. You see this import statement? This is what I found works. Yeah. So there could be a better way to do this. There probably could be a better way to do it. I will not lie. And if there is, feel free to share. But this is what I found works. And you can see right here it's working. That we can be able to access now our module, or the function inside our module. You can see this is our function module right here. We can be able to access it, although it's in another folder. Yeah. So that's what I found works. Yeah. But if now that folder is not in the where like your current workspace, it makes it even harder. So it's always best to try and make it easily accessible, at least, even if it's not in, even if you put all your modules inside a certain folder, like maybe a folder called my modules, you can still be able to access them. But if you're probably that folder is in another workspace that is very different from the one that you have opened, that's when it gets trickier. Yeah, so I guess I'd like to end my session there. Unless there's anyone who has any question. Okay, thank you, Maggie. So yeah, unless anyone has any question, I'd like to end my session there so that it's not too long. Yeah, I hope you guys at least had a glimpse of, or had a feel of what modules are. So just to give you maybe an assignment for today would be, so it's possible for you to run your module as a script on its own. So your module can just be a function on its own. So the assignment is to run now that module that we have created called function module. Try and run it as a program on its own. Maybe we were importing it into another file, then now running that file. Now what if your module should also be able to run on its own, so that you can, if you want, maybe you see your module might have very many functions or very many definitions, and you want to test and see are they working. So if we want to test it and see if they're working, you would run that module as a script on its own. So that will be assignment for today. Try and find out, can you run this as a script on its own? And then if you see all your functions are working properly, now you can try and import it into another file. Yeah, so that's why mostly you'd want to run it on its own to try and see if everything is working, and before you probably now import it in another file. Yeah, you can also debug right from here, but that's now a better way of carrying out now testing. Maybe that is usually called unit testing, a type of testing called unit testing. Yes, I will end here for fear of extending and talking probably a lot more. Yes, thank you guys for listening in, for sharing, for asking questions, and for also helping me debug. Yeah, so yeah, I'd like to end it there. Yeah, thank you, Felix. And maybe Candy, if you're still having problems, you can just stay on a little bit, and maybe as the others can feel free to leave, and we can try and work it out and see if we can get you help. Yes. Thank you, Felix. Unless there are other questions.
Thank you, Sandra. This was an amazing session and so interactive. So I don't have anything on my side unless somebody has a question. I can see in the chat. So Alex, this also was that group here. I was happy to it was stated. Let me just share the link. So guys, I think we are only remaining with two more sessions for this week. That is on Wednesday. I will be covering classes in Python. And then on the last Friday, we'll be taking an overview of everything I've been learning for the past 2 weeks in Python. So basically, by Wednesday, like you will have like, gathered like the enough information to participate in the tournament. Maybe some of you are thinking of the tournament is something so difficult. It's not that difficult, it's quite simple. Yeah. So that's why we say that the basics of Python can help you get started. And also on the argument platform, we realize that we have given you lots of boilerplate code, so you won't have to write much code. Yeah. So that is all from my side, and I think we can meet next week. I mean, not next week, on Wednesday. Yeah. Thank you. I just shared the link to the WhatsApp group. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so I don't know if Candy, you're still around. You're having any problem, able to figure out the issue, you can just
Are you still having the problem? Just stop the recording.